People, DG, I'm back again. Now, I don't know the purpose of this vid, yeah, but we know Arsenal's a special case in that you've got a head coach, you've got X, Y, Z in different positions that are all meant to come together and unite and get things done. In an ideal world, it's great. In real worlds, in real time, we'll never see how successful or how stressful it can be because too many chefs in the kitchen spoils the curry goat, as you lot know, people. And that got me thinking. I mean, we know we need a big summer, people. The statistics are there. We haven't, in the last few years, we haven't started too well away from home. To put it nicely, our away form is poor, and a lot of that can be traced to defensive mistakes, conceding all sorts of goals. We're not going to get into it. You know the running story that is Arsenal. Also, opening day of the season. Now, that might not be relevant initially, but start as you mean to go on. You saw us have a wobbly period in against Palace and them sort of fixtures. I'm not saying if we started the season off better last season because we had Chelsea and City. If we started off better, where would we be? But if we got them points there and got a couple other points before we hit that bad period, where would we be? That's all hindsight. And I'm not saying if. I'm not here to harp on about ifs and buts. My thing is you start off strong. You minimise where losing points, people. Whether you want to win a league title, get top four, anything. You have to grind out. You obviously have to win football matches, regardless if that's the name of the game. But you have to be able to win when you don't deserve to win or you haven't been at it. You have to be able, crucially, not to lose when you deserve to lose. Do you not think... You see Liverpool and City yesterday, last season, people. Yeah, they were great and 9 times out of 10 they blitz sides. But if you ask them players and Klopp and stuff behind the scenes, do you not think there was times where they think they played absolutely pee-poor or they deserved to lose, but they grinded it out? Of course, both teams, it happens, innit? You can't be at it, but you get where I'm going. We need to be able to do that. A big part of that falls between coaching, improving what we have, the players that can be improved, improving tactically how we do things, especially defensively and positioning and things. But recruitment's a big thing. Now, obviously, in an ideal world, we'd like to be able to spend X amount of money and bring in X amount of targets. But I believe, crucially, if it comes to it, you've got to look at the back line. Yes, I would like a winger, midfield, and all these other things. But left back, centre half, two glaring problems for us. I like Kola, but you see my video on Instagram. You can see many individual mistakes. Not just him. Collectively, the team do it, and we need to look at that. But he makes a lot of mistakes defensively, and I think we can do better in the left back situation. Do I really need to tell you lot why we need a centre half, people? Really and truly, it's lovely that we're in talks for Saliba, and I think he's got a lot of potential. It's almost scary the amount of potential he's got. I hope he doesn't go back on loan to Saint Etienne, but if he does, what can we do, people? And that's really what got me thinking. Centre half is a glaring area. Now I hope again, you'll never know what the club is thinking. Raul Sanllehi did, and stay with this point. He did say they have a plan. They have a plan of action and they've been talking to targets and all of these sort of things. So I'd like to be inclined to believe that there's plan A targets, plan B targets, plan C targets. So why I'm getting a bit nervous with the delay with the Turney deals or just the deafening silence in regards to Arsenal's negotiating beyond Martinelli, I'm going to stick to what Raul Sanllehi said. I'm going to consider the fact that it's still early in the market relatively. I'm going to consider the fact that I'm a fan, actually don't know what's going on. But surely we're playing a dangerous game. Now, if he goes back on loan, I don't know how much of the budget was going to be allocated to that, whether we do have more money or less money. But if we're buying a centre-half and he's not going to be at this club next season and we do not bring in another centre-half, I'm inclined to believe surely another centre-half comes in. I say surely because what makes common logic and common sense, my club might not necessarily always do, but surely. But if it doesn't, if another centre-half doesn't arrive at this club, who is to blame, people? Because obviously, regardless of a centre-half coming or not, top four is the aim. Do I believe these players can get top four based on last season missing out by a point? I'd say yes. Do I feel honestly in my heart this team has the galvanisation, the technical ability, the tactical ability and the consistency to get top four? The answer is no, people. A big part of that or to make us stronger would be centre-half. Now, any centre, Van Dijk or Cannavaro in his prime could be in this Arsenal defence. And yeah, their quality would show, but they would come unstuck time and time again because we don't respect defending and relish defending and have an active system in regards to defending. You see the sort of goals we improve. So technically and tactically, regardless of a new manager coming in or not, we need to improve and make headwinds into that because a new centre-half of a good certain calibre should only be a complement into a great system. We can't expect a man to be a messiah sort of thing. Not one manager, not one player, not one person can move this team forward, you get it? So who do we blame if a centre-half doesn't come into this club? Because You know it, I know it. The centre half options, yeah, there's some young players you'd give chances to, but does it really scream anything to you? If we're saying, okay, Saliba, there's a place next season for you, we won't sign another centre half, and we're willing to go into the new season with Koscielny, who's out of contract, 34 years of age, seemed to have lost his head at this club. Mustafi is just Mustafi, and tried and untested young players. I've got time for Mavropanos. I'd like to see him get chances, but as you've seen with the red card against Leicester and the free kick that led to the goal against Benteke scored against us, he will show youthful inexperience at times. Holding will as well. Holding's 23 and he's played a lot of games. Well, not a lot, but a decent amount of games. He still gets too tight to centre halves. I'll play with Socrates, but Socrates is 31 and so on. You've seen him get injured and have suspensions, and Holding's been injured. What happens if Holding and Socrates would be the ones for me, but what happens if they get injured? I'd like to think the club have a plan in place in terms of another centre half, because surely you would, because Emery's been calling from a centre half from last January and we was linked with Cahill, so surely he wants it. But who do we blame if we don't get a centre half and the same thing happens, people? Really and truly. I think defensively we need to improve. I feel offensively Emery can improve us, because we're scoring goals and stuff, but we're not shooting as much and we're not playing in a certain sort of way. But sticking to defensively, people, who do we blame? Because Raul Sanllehi was saying it's all planned out. Players want to join regardless of the Champions League. They've got the process, blah blah blah, this and that. So he's speaking to players. Does the sword fall on him? Emery again. Emery is the head coach. He's not in charge of transfers, so you'd think no, it's not him, but to a degree, if I put myself in Emery's shoes, head coach or not, he probably can suggest certain players. Saliba is a quality signing, and that's the mandate the club is trying to go at. But there's no guarantee with Emery's contract stuff that he's going to be here next season. So would you not push more harder for a centre half, if it is going to be Saliba, to not go back on loan to his club, or another one to come in to help you in your cause of getting fans off your back and moving the club forward? Because football is a harsh game. It might not be his fault, but he's the sword that everybody's going to fall on, because he is the manager. That's the name of the game. He wanted a centre-half from January. Could he have possibly made the case stronger? Of course, he could have been banging on and protesting outside Raul's house saying, bring me a centre-half, and it didn't happen. But surely, people, if they're spending 30 million, which we probably have more in our budget, but if we believe that the budget is 45 million, just for this example, you're spending your bulk of the budget of a centre-half that's not going to be here. Could you have pushed to have him here on a year earlier? Or did you concede that? If another centre-half comes in, then cool. But obviously, if the same things persist and the same results persist, then it's surely his head that it's got to fall on, people. For me, it's a massive gamble if they're going into next season with these centre half targets. I want to get top 4. If we did go into the top lot next season with the same options, of course, regardless, I still want to get top 4. And if we did, I hold my hands up. But I don't believe the defence convinces any of you. Defence is where everything starts, and I don't feel any of you are convinced with Arsenal's defence, and I feel the same things will happen. You fail to plan, you plan to fail, and I believe, honestly, if Emery can look himself in the mirror and say he believes in his defensive options, I think he's a liar. Like I said, Holding and Socrates are cool. Mavropanos is a young G. Bielik and all of these sort of young players, they've not been given a chance, so they're irrelevant to this option. Mustafi, World Cup winner, 26 years of age, should be our best centre-half, is the furthest thing from that. So we'll see what happens, people. It's still early in the transfer market, so I'm not ranting and raving and carrying on, but who do we blame? Who do we pin the blame at? Because it's a dangerous game. I'm inclined to believe another centre-half is going to come into this club, because surely, just by watching Arsenal last season, you see we need help defensively. And if we're going to loan out this centre-half, and it is a priority, surely we have another plan in place, whether that's a stopgap signing or just somebody, really and truly. On that note, I'm going to keep it moving, people. I really need to get a move on, get my breakfast ready. I'm going to get time to eat. I have to take it on the go, but the things I do for vids for you guys. On a serious note, though, people, each and every time, thank you for the love you give me. DG, I'm out.